I'm announcing today, I'm putting my ass on the line. I'm telling you, there is a black swan event coming. A black swan event coming. I don't know if we're going to war with Putin. I don't know if another corona is going to come out that is not curable. I don't know whether the Federal Reserve is going to finally implode. I don't know what it is, but it's coming. Because every massive bull market needs to find an excuse to correct. And even though we had a recession that only lasted 70 days or 80 days or whatever it was, last year, the market is way overvalued. Excuse me. And the big smart money, if you follow it, which you don't, 95% of them have all taken money off the table. In other words, taken a lot of profits. And they're working with the money that they earned. Back in 2017, December 2017, when Bitfuck got up to $17,000, I said, this is the top of the market for right now. Sell half, keep half, is what I told everybody. Nobody listened. Not one motherfucker listened to me. But in the 7 recessions that I've been through, which coincidentally in the 7 decades that I've been successful, there has been a correction. There's going to be one, and I don't know what it is. I thought for a moment when supposedly the Ruskies supposedly shot at the British ship, I thought that was it. And I said, oh my God, we got to get the slide out now. I'm going to miss the war. But it didn't happen, so I dodged that one. But something like that's going to happen. And everybody in this room almost is going to get wiped out. Except me. And the black swan, these are the stock indices, and this is Warren Buffett's indice, which I don't necessarily follow. And the last time that it was this high was the crash of 2000, the financial crisis. Now, my background is I used to be a Dow theorist. I used to be a gold bug. I was one of the first individuals on the Chicago Board of Option Exchange. I used to trade commodities. There's not one facet of the financial services that I have not been a part of. And in some ways, I was one of the founders, although I wasn't on the board, of Certified Financial Planners. I've got a lot of experience. And when I tell you the fucking end's coming, the tsunami's coming, I know what I'm talking about. And you're not prepared. Not just you, nobody's prepared. Margin debt at an all-time high. You borrow to buy stocks. Most people don't realize that don't own Bitfuck, you can leverage it 95%. And that's why the swings are so great in the price of Bitcoin. Because when you borrow 95 cents on the dollar and it drops $10, you got to come up with equity. You've got to come up with more money, more rubles, more shekels, more pounds, more euros. Total margin debt. Dot-com bubble of 2000, Great Recession, now. It's got to correct. There are kids that are teaching seminars now and they're collecting money from you that say that the new is we're never going to have recessions anymore. We're never going to have bear markets anymore. And we're going to borrow until we all drop dead. Not true. Not true. The big motherfucker's coming. The big motherfucker's coming. This is very much like the bubble in synthetic asset-backed CDOs before the great financial crisis, in that price and setting in that market was not done by fundamental security, level analysis, but by massive capital flows based on Nobel-approved models. And the risk wasn't accounted for. Most people that lose money have done it because of a poor risk assessment. They don't understand. In the last 15 or 20 years, you didn't have, well, other than in 20 years, the collapse of the .com market, you don't know how to assess risk. As long as we don't go to war with Russia, war with Iran, although I'm against war, war with Iran is not going to hurt us at all. War with Syria is not going to hurt us at all. War with North Korea will hurt us a little. Unfortunately, there'll be a lot of collateral damage. But at the end of the day, from chaos comes order, and we're going to make more fucking money. And you heard it from me fucking first. Now, why do I know these things? Why do I know the top of Bitcoin? December 2017. Why did I know the top of the oil market? August of 2014. Because there is no algorithm, compression algorithm, for experience. Do you realize 87% of all the money managed on the planet, many trillions, is managed by people under 30 years old? 87% of all the money managed is managed by dipshits under 30 years old. Do you want somebody 28, 27 years old managing your fucking assets? I certainly hope not. How can you help me? I signed a note in my house and this, that, and the other thing for $3.6 million, and we haven't cash flowed in 6 months. Well, there's nothing I can do. And normally I just say, have you considered bankruptcy? And bankruptcy is not my first choice, ever. But when you've been fighting the wolves for 6, 7, 8 months, and you've run out of money, you run out of credit card debt, your parents aren't returning your calls, your brothers, sisters, and cousins aren't returning your calls because you've all milked them all. Bankruptcy, and then can be pretty favorable, the various bankruptcy laws, because they're there to protect you. And even though I've only, in all the years I've been in business, I've only taken one company into bankruptcy, and I took it out of bankruptcy about 10 months later. But we used it. We had a customer that on an acquisition we made that represented 60% of our business, and the customer stopped paying. And I'm sure we would have gone to court and we would have won, but 2, 3 years later, and it doesn't do me much good. It's tough to shake poor genes, and that's why it's so hard, not impossible, but so damn tough to break the poverty cycle. And that's why in East LA, where I come from, it's still mainly Mexican Americans that started their second or third generation from illegal aliens, not illegals that came, not those aliens, illegals that came into the United States across the border. And when I tell the story, and it's a true story, my grandmother and my mother in 1924, they didn't swim because the Rio Grande River was lower then. They walked across the Rio Grande River as illegals into Texas in 1924. And so I'm first generation Mexican. And $7 will buy you a coffee latte in New York. Doesn't mean shit. But in the Hispanic community, it means something. I don't know why. As a Mexican, I don't know why it means a fucking thing. We got some Latinos in the room. Why? Just because I'm first generation Mexican and I got to be super rich on some standards. Not Zuckerberg rich, but pretty well off, because that's all we've got. And in 1983, when I was on the front page of the LA Times, that article up there, The New Breed, the Super Wealthy Latinos, I was worth approximately $50 million. And I was supposedly the richest Mexican in the United States at the time. And I said, which they cut out of the article, if I'm the best we fucking got, which I've already said, we're in big fucking trouble. But today, you can count Mexicans with $50 million on 2 hands, I think, in the United States. 2 hands, maybe. Now, if you throw in Cubans and some other, Latin extractions, maybe you got 4 hands, 5 hands. Because the errors, the fear that we think we have are all between our ears, and they're all based on how we were raised. When I was growing up, fortunately, I was in grammar school. I was the biggest kid on the campus, on the grammar school, from 0 to 7th grade. I was the biggest kid. So I never got bullied or any of that kind of thing. And kids that used to get bullied used to come to me and say, hey, Danny, you're my friend, even though I didn't even know the kid's name. So-and-so is bullying me. And so I saw bullying from that angle. I never saw being bullied. And that's why it's very difficult, if not impossible, for me to understand how you get bullied on Facebook. Don't you just either close Facebook down or delete them or whatever you call them, unlike them or whatever the fuck, block them or whatever you can do. But no, they sit there week after week, month after month getting abused because they engage in self-sabotaging activity.